I've determined that this double quad, in addition to interfering with the drawing of an inside the waistband holster, even an outside the waistband holster, possibly, you might even need a drop holster, like, you know, a little bit of a drop, not a full drop. But this quad may have viability in a grid down scenario, which you might be in a much enhanced threat area, or walking or exercising or needing load bearing capabilities. It is not a rapid response gear, in my opinion, because it's too slow to put on. You can certainly put the whole gear in a backpack. Yeah, you got 8 mags in a backpack. What difference does it make if they're in the holster already? So you put the whole thing in the backpack, got 8 mags in the backpack. But I think that a paddle holster, a paddle with 2 magazines that can just slide on your belt, not to mention the fact that it could hold 24 round mags, right? The longer magazines, in my opinion, is going to be a better solution. So you throw a paddle mag on with 24 rounders. That gives you, plus that gives you concealment because they go up, right? Not sideways. So not only do you have more concealment options, whether it be a light vest or a light jacket or even a button-up shirt, more flexibility, more speed, higher capacity per magazine, maybe not as many mags, but certainly the ability to have a 24 rounder on you, so you can take your 15 rounder out and drop a 24 rounder in if you know you're going into harm's way, or you have a few minutes or a few seconds to respond to something. Plus, getting them off your waist, the 511 pants, which I wear a lot, will hold 24 rounders just fine. And they could certainly hold 4, but then they might hold as many as 8, which is what this is, although they kind of get your pants kind of heavy. And of course you can put on suspenders, which would be no different than putting this on, basically. So throwing some 24 rounders in your pants, especially since pepper spray, this is the Smith & Wesson variety of pepper spray. It's exactly the right size to fit in a 511 holster, 511 thigh holster, or not thigh holster, but thigh pocket. So the 24 rounders fit in the pockets just fine. The 15s do too, but the 24s do as well. The 15s fit, the 17s fit, the 24s fit. They fit and actually snap down. Getting 17s with extensions on them, and not sure if that's going to work. But anyway, flush fit 24 goes right in. Pepper spray goes right in, and you still got some other pockets to do if you wanted to put some more 24s in there. But I think a paddle holster where you can throw on a gun and throw on a paddle, or throw them in your pockets, is going to be a better solution than having this as your go-to in an emergency. So this in a backpack makes plenty of sense, but but it's slow to put on, it's cumbersome and expensive on top of that. So, plus if you're using something like an armored jacket, which may have some bulk to it already, right? Which is better, some body armor up front or 8 magazines underneath it, right? If it's already a little bit thick on the jacket for your size, you don't want to go too much size up, because that starts to become obvious that maybe there's something different about the jacket. But a regular size jacket with your armor panels in there seems to be a better solution. The regular size jacket plus an arm brace Glock, right? So you get a arm brace Glock, throw it in your pants, cover it with a jacket, and you're on the street with a PCC. You got some 24 rounders in here, change out with 24 rounds. You got 25 rounds of flux arm brace with the Glock, and that is a recipe that I'm not sure there is a gunfight in American history in which that wouldn't solve it with just one 24 round mag with the arm brace. It's like, oh no, there's the 86 shootout. They had to reload. Yeah, after they missed them 15 times. You're not going to miss somebody 15 times with BCZ. You're just not going to do it. Well, what about North Hollywood? They're like 60, 75 yards away. What about Columbine, 60 yards away? Shoot him in the head with your Glock Flux from 60 yards away and be done with it. You know, I'm sorry, do you have the wrong dot? Oh, I have an 8 MOA dot. Then get a 3 or a 4 or a 1. Change it up. Change your system. Change your crap. So, but making these excuses like, well, what about that rare occasion when he's really far away? What is really far with a PCC? 100 yards? That might be really far. 150? That starts to be really far. 150. I mean, but Lowe's and Walmart, those stores are 100 yards wide. They're just 100 yards to the other end of the store. It's not uncommon to be in a situation in which you might be expected to make a 50 or 100 yard shot. Under stress, however, you may think you're a good shot now, but under stress, you're going to revert back to a lower level of shooter. So, if you're already a dog shit shooter, you're not going to hit anything. You're just going to spray and pray. If you're a really good shooter, you're going to be less than a really good shooter, right? So the arm brace can make up a lot from that. Arm brace will add about 4 times of capabilities, whether it's 4 times the accuracy, 4 times the distance, 4 times the speed, you name it. It helps in every level. So at least my research has showed that. Both with professional shooters and amateurs. With amateurs, it increases their accuracy by a level of 4. With professionals, it increases their speed at distance by a level of 4. They're, instead of shooting 3 or 4 seconds per shot, they're shooting one shot per second. So, and making hits at 100 yards. So, but anyway, more is less when it comes to the double quads. Being able to take off a paddle and put it in your pocket, being able to take off, an arm brace and put it in the jacket, and then take the entire jacket off at a restaurant or a venue or a denied area, and still have a small gun, in your pocket. These all have advantages over more capabilities that don't necessarily generate more capabilities in the short term. The short term is where it's at, because gunfights are over in several seconds, and they're usually over in several seconds one way or the other. There's almost never, ever a chance to reload during a gunfight. But, if you're running a PCC or an arm brace and your accuracy is there, there's also even less need to reload even then, right? I might even throw 4 times the accuracy, 4 times the distance, 4 times the speed. How about 4 times less needed, less requiring an extra magazine that you may or may not have anyway? That would be a good thing, right? It'd be a good thing to be 4 times less needed to have a parachute if you don't have a parachute. That's a nice plane to have, right? The one that is less likely to need a parachute, especially the guys that don't have a parachute. So the arm brace is the focus. The armor is the focus. Not heavy armor that you don't wear, heavy armor you can't put on in front of people. But, I have that too. I have it. Yeah, it's in the truck. It's in the truck. It's laying around. It's all over the place. Just like AR-15s are all over the place. But they're not, I say they're all over the place. They're all over the places I'm not, right? When I'm not home, I'm not around my hard armor. I'm not around my ARs. The only thing I'm around is on my person. And if it's not on my person or can't be put on my person in public, then it doesn't help me in public. The delusions of grandeur that you'll have your Sig Rattler 300 blackout while you're in the bathroom of a school waiting to pick up your child, that's delusional. You're not. You're going to have whatever gun you brought into that school every single time you came to that school. And if you never brought the Rattler, guess what? You don't have it this time either. Like ever. The gun you brought to the restaurant, that's the gun you're going to have. But did you bring the Rattler to Applebee's last time? Well, no, I didn't bring that Rattler to Applebee's last time. Then you're not going to have it this time. Period. You're going to have whatever you brought to it last time. And for most people, that's a Glock 17 or Glock 19 or something along these lines, 365. But if you could move up to an arm brace regularly, you could count on having that as well. Being able to put something on in plain view or have it within reach, because it doesn't stand out, right? It's on the back seat. My armor's on the back seat. I say my armor. My jacket's on the back seat. It's got armor in it. I mean, it's more accurate to say my jacket's on the back seat because I put my jacket on when I get cold. I get cold a lot more than I get shot at. So the jacket, you know, I don't put my armor on and go outside. I put my jacket on and go outside and happen to have my armor on it. So that's all armor in it. You know, I don't put armor on to go outside. I put my jacket on to go outside, right? So, you know, I don't put on an extra magazine. I put on pants that had an extra magazine in it. You know, I'm not wearing a magazine out the house. I'm wearing pants. So, what a buddy of mine said, they don't call it Chinese food in China. They just call it food, right? So, you know, an armored jacket's just a jacket if the armor lives in the jacket you wear every day. And same goes for extra magazines and guns. If they live in the clothing that you wear every day, you're not really carrying a gun. You're just going outside dressed. So that's where I think the magic is. It's romantic to have, you know, to be able to gear up and level up to a point where you're invulnerable or you're unstoppable. But that's not the standard. The standard is not how prepared you can be when you're expecting it. That's not the standard. The standard is how prepared you are when you weren't expecting it. That's your level, right? You don't shoot as well on the street. You don't shoot on the street like you shot the last 5 minutes on the gun range. You shoot on the street the way you shot the first 5 minutes. So when you get to the gun range and you're a little rusty, that's how you shoot on the street. When you're getting all warmed up and you shot 300 rounds, that's not how you shoot. That's how you leave the gun range. If you get into a fight at the stop sign when you're leaving the gun range, that might be accurate. But a week or 6 months or whatever it is between shooting sessions, how you start shooting on the gun range, that's how you shoot on the street. And if you suck out of the gate, then you suck on the street. And the same thing with armor, guns, and extra magazines. If you're not carrying that stuff when you're not expecting it, you're not going to have it when something goes down. Period. So the long-term, long gunfights, the rare 1%, that's not near as important as the more likely events where you need something fast, you need something accurate, you need something, you know, final. And the armor can sometimes begin working before you even start shooting. And sometimes you don't. The indication that you're in a gunfight is a bullet in your person, right? And it'd be nice to be in the jacket and not in your lungs when the gunfight started, right? So you get the indication that there's a gunfight because there's a very loud noise, and now there's a pain in your chest, or preferably your jacket, and now you're trying to get into a gunfight behind the curve. So that's where you are. The armor can do things that extra mags can't do. And the extra mags can actually inhibit you doing things that enable you to do the very things you need to survive, you know, most situations. So you're moving backwards sometimes with more equipment, heavier equipment, specialized equipment. You may be moving backwards and moving into more vulnerability than less vulnerability. So try to focus. It's not romantic because, you know, everybody wants to have the PEC 15 on their AR-15, you know, in case they, you know, in their night vision, you know, they on their helmet, you know, I'm sorry, did you bring your helmet to Applebee's? I don't think you did. So there you go. So rethink that. And it's not fun to think about. It's not romantic. It's not cool. But try to rethink and think along the lines of what solves actual gunfight problems. And that's going to be having a gun, having it accessible quickly, and having it being able to shoot it accurately. Where if you need a dot or laser, then you get a dot or laser. If you need a flashlight or an arm brace, then you get that. But getting something that keeps you from carrying the gun, that's a step backwards. Buying a magazine carrier that keeps you from carrying magazines, like, oh, I don't carry an extra magazine because I have my load-bearing vest in the trunk. I don't care what you have in the trunk. You could have an F-16 in the trunk, right? You could have a whole truckload of SWAT guys, right? You need an extra magazine on your person right? I don't care if it's a 15 rounder. I don't care what it is. Doesn't have to be a 33 round magazine. By the way, I don't like the 33 rounders. They seem unwieldy. The 24s seem like I can move the gun around better. So I don't even like the 33s. They look ghetto. They look a little ghetto too. There's that. I said it. But I do have some 33s, but I like the 24s a lot more than I like the 33s. I don't like giving up ammo, but so that just shows you just how much I like the 24s more than the 33s. I'm willing to give up some ammo for that extra. Seems like it's more pointable, more wielding, can wield it better. And it fits in my pockets, right? You know, I like the magazine I have on me a lot more than the bigger magazine I don't have on me. So this philosophy applies across the board on everything, whether it be a gun, a bigger gun you don't carry, a magazine, or bigger magazine you don't carry, armor versus better armor you don't carry. Don't carry, don't work. So there you go. But again, that's I think the paddle holster with two 24 rounders, you can slip in your belt as you walk out the door. You can throw on a button down, unbuttoned if you need to, or button it up, either way. Or a coverall or a vest or something like this, or a little fishing jacket, whatever, photographer's jacket. I think that's going to be your friend more than the full-size shoulder holster systems. And that's it for today.